retakes. Kelly has it on a tee. Kendrick Law is back to receive for the Cats. And here we go. And that one will sail out of bounds, and we get to meet Cutter Boley. Got the start last week against Eastern Michigan. Boley.
Kick out of bounds on the kicking team, number 21.
Boley's from the valley of the North Fork of the Nolan River, the heart of LaRue County, Hodgenville, Kentucky, the home of Abe Lincoln. And tonight, his first career SEC start. How do you manage the Butterflies if you're Cutter Boley?
Well, Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, is going to want to get him some easy, what we call layup throws. Calm the nerves a little bit, maybe even use his feet. Oftentimes that helps a young quarterback kind of settle things down, but I expect some easy throws to start this drive before they start unleashing things downfield.
They got some talent in the backfield. It's Seth McGowan getting the start tonight. And the former Oklahoma Sooner, who's had a long and windy road to this point, is able to rip off 3.5 on first down. Let's meet our impact players.
Yeah, Seth McGowan is the most explosive player for this Kentucky offense. Second most explosive would be Kendrick Law, the transfer wide receiver from Alabama. And on the other side, we've been talking about a young quarterback. There are two really talented defensive ends, Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas, that in third and longs, they're going to be coming after this quarterback. And they do it as good as anybody.
Stewart is an absolute game record. Here's Kendrick Law. He finds the edge, and they're finding new ways to get him the football as he takes it past midfield for a pickup of 11.
Well, I love this. Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, mentioned we got to find ways to get number one the football in as many ways as possible. Has about 20 plays where he should get the football. It's an extensive list. He's so dynamic as they try to figure out who their number one wide receiver is going to be. Nice, easy way to start this game for the young quarterback. Yeah, they've given Boley some breathing room now with the ball on the right hash at midfield. And dips into this one, lets it go into double coverage, and picked off! Oh, Cisse had it and lost it. What an effort by Brandon Cisse, the junior from up the road in Sumter. Boy, it's a great effort by Cisse. Read this thing the whole way. It just doesn't come down with it. This is the guy he's got to read. He's going to have this matchup one-on-one, which he loves, but you still have to have awareness of the field corner. They're in zone coverage, not true man-to-man, so early mistake for this young quarterback, but not as bad as it could have been. Now to the pistol and a handoff to McGowan, and he's able to find the edge and rip off a big one on second down. That's a pickup of 17. And the Cats are marching with this ground game.
It's a massive block by 84 Josh Caddis right there on that outside zone zip game. Bush Hamden, the offensive corner, are going to try to build the offense around this. Watch your tight end right here seal the edge and be able to give Kentucky an outside run. Climb up to that second level. Nice contact, physicality. Caddis's game has come a long way this year.
The tight ends as a whole have been a position group that the Cats have leaned on. Soft blocking there. There are also a couple of good receivers between Caddis and Willie Rodriguez. Play clock getting late. They go play action. Boley lobs another one up into double coverage, and too strong for Kendrick Law. Peyton Williams and Brandon Cisse in coverage for Carolina.
Yeah, so they're going to want to be really good on first down, because obviously the more second longs, the more third longs you're in, you got to deal with this guy. Dylan Stewart, preseason All-American, freshman All-American last year. One of the most talented pass rushers in the country, and probably the most physically gifted guy South Carolina's had since Jadeveon Clowney.
Big shoes to fill. Yeah, Kyle Kennard, an All-American the other end last year. This is Dantel Dowdell, who takes it off the left side. And they're just cold. They're not facing much resistance up front. That big blue wall is doing the job early.
No, and you're essentially getting a five-man front, kind of an odd look here from the South Carolina defense. I actually asked their D coordinator before the game, Clayton White, are you going to play some bear, which is all the three interior offensive linemen covered. He said, we might have to go to it some. I'm hoping not to have to. But what's going on here, we might see it here soon.
Dive a little deeper on what those odd and even fronts mean for both sides tonight. That's Law in motion. He picks up the block and straight ahead run for a first down.
Yeah, that was a bare front. So I'm going to explain what Cole was talking about. You have guard covered up, and center covered up. So you got 3 guys on your interior offensive lineman. Makes it tough to get double teams, but Kentucky does a great job of running right into the teeth of it. You mentioned it, Tom, this big blue wall, 3 transfers starting up front for Kentucky. A lot of new faces up there, but they're really starting to come together.
They got an anchor at left tackle at 6'8", 322. Siaj Pete, we'll talk about him tonight. Yeah, great job in the portal trying to rebuild this offense. It starts with the running game. Here's McGowan, shakes a man to the outside and to the end zone. 20-yard touchdown run for Seth McGowan. Already his 7th rushing touchdown of the season.
Well, we've been talking about tight ends. Watch Josh Caddis with a down block on Dylan Stewart right here. Then you're going to read the end. Great job by Cutter Boley, just reading the end. That was the right read, getting McGowan up north and south, one-on-one with the safety. Bakari Swain back there, a cornerback. That's the matchup you want. You can get McGowan on a 2nd or 3rd level guy.
Forget about it.
Kentucky's going to take that all night. What a drive to start this one for a young quarterback in a hostile environment.
8 plays, 65 yards as Coway pushes it through. 54 of those 65 came on the ground. Just a punishing opening drive by the Kentucky Wildcats. There's a flag down after the point after.
Hey, Jordan.
Matt Leffler is our referee.
Personal foul, roughing the snapper. Number 9 on South Carolina. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Touchdown.
It's on Desmond Umazulu. The only physicality South Carolina showed on that entire opening drive. Mark Stoops and the Cats off to a good start. Gowan taking advantage of a new lease on his football life. He's the first Cat since at least 1984 with 6 rushing touchdowns in his first 3 games, and he adds number 7 tonight. This is a program under Mark Stoops. It looked like it turned the corner. 2014, it had a huge win at home against Steve Spurrier in the JoJo Kemp game, and then found traction. But over the last few seasons, tough sledding, including a losing season last year. And in losing 13 of its last 15 against conference opponents, they haven't scored more than 28 in any of those games. The offense has been a sore subject the last few years. After the penalty at kickoff from midfield. And that'll be a touchback, and Lenore Sellers leads the South Carolina offense. They struggled last week, and a projected first quarterback to be taken, according to Kuiper, in next summer's draft, has been putting the ball in the air more often than last year. They're very even 50-50. But a byproduct of the run game really struggling, and now a brand new offensive line again.
Yeah, they ran for -9 yards last week.
That ain't good, coach.
Not really what you want, but what was on full display is the reason he's a projected first-round draft pick. His ability to push the ball downfield accurately, the explosive plays through the air were on full display last week. Let's see if they can get some run game to complement it.
As a starter last year, preseason All-America this year, Rasul Faison tries to find something and gets just a yard. It's been a slow starting team over the course of Shane Beamer's career. They usually about 500 through September, but it's the offense that's really held them down this season. 130th of 136 in rushing under offensive coordinator Mike Shula. -9 will do some damage to your average. So Jordan, 2 tough yards there, likely going to the air here, but I want to go backwards. How do they get the run game going?
I think part of it is you need to start using Lenore Sellers, right? He is 6'3", 240 pounds, probably as fast as anybody on the field. Obviously, he had the concussion a couple weeks ago, and I think last week they were a little hesitant to put extra hits on his body. I wonder if that changes this week. Obviously, passing situation here, but I think they need to run 16 a lot more tonight to help out.
Sellers finds room straight ahead, and just at the marker, and you see his strength to hold on as that ball was nearly ripped away from him. Wasn't a design run, but able to ad-lib and move the chain.
Well, that's one thing that offensive coordinator Mike Shula specifically pointed out. I want him to run up and through the pocket. Right, last week he was scrambling around, running lateral, running backwards at times, and it really hurt him. Great job there, keeping your eyes downfield and getting up and through the pocket.
The play action, off the fake toss, off the hands of one receiver and into the hands of another. And Dravius Jacobs takes Brian Rowe's leftovers and turns it into an entree.
Well, this is one of those throws that Lenoris just has to take a little off it. That's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball, right? You could just put that a little easier, throw a changeup out in front of that receiver, and you probably have a completion. Obviously, lucked out that Brian Rowe was sitting right behind him.
Yeah, great job bottling up the run this time, led by J.Q. Hardaway. And that leaves 2nd and long for South Carolina.
J.Q. Hardaway, a staple, big 6'3" corner on the outside. They've been a little banged up on the back end, Kentucky has. DJ Waller obviously was a starter week 1. He hasn't played since week 1. Terion Nichols injured against Eastern Michigan, will be back in the lineup tonight, which helps out.
Sellers on a double clutch that one before he let it go, trying to find Donovan Murph. He also played Kevis Thomas a good chunk of the last half of the Eastern Michigan game. He got beat on a long touchdown, jumped the pump and shot, and that ended up probably costing him some playing time. So Nichols, Hardaway, and we'll see Grayton will rotate in at corner. Third and 9, 3-man rush with a spy. Out route hauled in by Brian Rowe Jr., the speedy freshman from outside of Charlotte, and a South Carolina first down. Or pardon me, they're going to be short, but they're going to stay with the offense on the field here. 4th and 3.
Yeah, kind of in no man's land here. This is where you'd love to get your big quarterback out of the pocket a little bit, right?
Yeah.
3 yards, a little too long for just a straight dive down the middle. See if they try to get Lenoris Sellers on the run here. It is right hash for a right-handed quarterback, so it makes it a little harder.
They're 4 of 7 on 4th down this season. They rush 3, and he finds a pocket for the first down to Nick Harbor.
That's a really good job with Lenoris Sellers' eyes. Watch him work his eyes wide and then get back to Nick Harbor. So he's going to move those defenders. Watch, gets his eyes wide. Ty Bryant jumps outside and opens up the window for Nick Harbor right underneath. Great start for number 8.
I talked to Ty Bryant this week about how he reads quarterbacks' eyes, and he said something that you've talked about ad nauseum. He goes with the stripes on the helmet. You got me thinking, like, those are pretty bold stripes for both teams. If I was an OC, I'd say, let's just take the stripes off, please.
Yeah. DBs are, they try to get any kind of advantage they have, but that's what we love. Good, you watch the stripe, because I'm gonna be looking over here and I'm gonna bring you back.
Right.
Like,
or just put the stripe off kilter. Dave, thank you. We welcome those of you who watched that thriller in Starkville. Here, Oscar Attaway III, just short of the first down, will leave 3rd and short. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik for a consequential matchup between 2 longtime rivals, Kentucky and South Carolina. What an absolute thriller in Starkville as Tennessee escapes in overtime. And now these 2 coaches desperate to find the win column. Kentucky's had a tough sledding of it in conference play. And meanwhile, South Carolina got outplayed last week in the second half on the road at Missouri. 11th play of the drive. Sellers keeps this one, and he rumbles for a first down. And that is a play that they weren't likely to run against Missouri last week coming off of the injury.
yeah, but you got a healthier quarterback. You got Nick Harbor over there that's a 6'5", 235-pound receiver that's lead blocking. Love the play here. Great decision on the zone read. The end crashes down. Lenoris Sellers has it. Moves the ball to his outside arm here. And that's the speed, deceptive speed for a guy that's 240 pounds. He can turn the corner on you in a hurry.
Kentucky scored on its opening drive, leaning on the ground game, and now Carolina trying to return the favor. Here's Faison off the right side, and he stays on his feet into the end zone. Both teams have scored on their opening possession as Faison takes it in for 12. Gonna be that kind of game, huh? Save the mashed potatoes. 12 plays, 75 yards.
Boy, two offenses that have kind of struggled to start the year. Hasn't looked hard so far tonight.
I didn't know if we'd get to this total by the end of the half.
I agree. Boy, couldn't draw it up any better for this South Carolina offense. The run game gets going early.
Joyce punches it through.
A nice little counter play. Great job by the offensive line. Jordan Dingle pulling around, and Rasul Faison running through arm tackles. We got a ball game, 7-7.
On-found pay dirt for South Carolina following Seth McGowan's opening drive touchdown. And we are off and running at Willie B tonight. Both teams have had a crack at it. And we're locked at 7. And a pivotal matchup for both sides.
Setting up just like we thought, right?
Yeah.
A special teams play, a turnover, that's going to be the deciding factor, as always is in these type of games between Kentucky and South Carolina. I just wasn't expecting the offenses to come out and have as much success this early.
And that was a difference in the game last year. A South Carolina blowout win in Lexington. They've won 3 in a row. Whoa! Hello! Good evening. What a hit. There's your special teams play of the night so far. That's Mo Brown II, maybe the most physical player on this roster.
I started the open by saying this is always like a fist fight in a back alley. You're seeing the physicality.
And remember, Mo Brown got the first touch in the win against Virginia Tech by design. Shane Beamer said we went to him to run over their guys. Sometimes we like to send a message.
Yeah, lined him up, a little hide route, got him the ball in the flats against VTech. He ran somebody over, and it kind of set the tone for this entire team. Another tone-setting play.
The previous play is under further
Brown.
review for potential targeting.
And of course, the no-fun police are going to look at it and say, well,
I mean, player safety,
yeah, okay,
right?
Okay, I'm kidding. Remember, not a defenseless player, so going to have to be the very top of the helmet, which the very crown is 6 inches from the very top. He does dip his head, and that is, oh, see,
started off his crown.
Started off his crown, and then how much does it turn to the side there, you know?
They shrunk the definition of the crown a couple of years ago.
What doesn't look good is the indicator right there, right? I mean, he is squaring up and dipping his head, which is, they want to protect the player. The tackler, not the guy receiving the hit as much as the tackler there. It kind of looks like it comes off to the side to me, though.
Yeah, I agree. And that indicator that you're referencing is real easy. Like if your eyes are pointing to the ground, that's an indicator. Yep. And to your point, that's player safety for the tackler as much as it is the ball carrier.
I would think they're going to call this targeting. Again, the helmet does spin off to the side.
After video review, there was no targeting on the play. First down, Kentucky.
So I was going to say I thought they would just kind of default because of the indicator to reinforcing, trying to get that type of movement out of the game. But he did do a good job there. Like we mentioned, last second kind of turning his head into the contact.
I don't think Mark Stoops would mind if this turns into a black and blue slugfest.
Oh, no, not at all. That's who they are. Right, I mean, and that's what Mark Stoops and Bush Hamden, the offensive coordinator, mentioned. We can't get away from the run game. That's our identity. Physicality, running the football, controlling the pace of the game.
And under Stoops, when they've been at their best, that's been this program's identity. Here's Seth McGowan.
Yeah, this has been the difference with Cutter Boley instantly, is the ability to push the ball downfield accurately. Something Calzada really struggled at. His first opportunity early against Eastern Michigan. He's pushing it downfield into tight windows. A great throw there to Josh Caddis. And another one right down the field, dropping it in the bucket. Accurate throw. Hardly Gilmore on the receiving end there. If you're going to play quarterback at Kentucky, you know you're going to run the football. The play actions and stretching the field vertical is an absolute must.
And it's turned in with these two quarterbacks to a strength of each team, where they've struggled maybe in other areas. McGowan escapes the first, but can't escape the next two. Peyton Williams. South Carolina worked on its tackling, so much so this week after 16 missed tackles against Missouri backs. They worked on not only wrapping up, but no more thud. You got to wrap up and wait till a third guy comes over and helps you out on the tackle before we will blow the play dead in practice this week. All sorts of fundamental issues in the loss in Columbia last week.
Wood, an extra offensive lineman in the game.
On 3rd and 2 to the flat. That's the tight end Willie Rodriguez, and he is off to the races. Rodriguez finally taken down inside the 25. What a play call by Bush Hamden. It ends up a 54-yard rumble.
Boy, this is going to be a great play call. Watch Willie right here, and actually Dylan Stewart right here is going to be the guy that needs to run with him. He's going to get his eyes in the backfield before he's late peeling off. You see nobody else going with Willie Rodriguez. You bring extra offensive linemen in the game. That usually tells the defense, hey, 3rd and short, they're going to run the football, get big boys in there, little play action. Love the design, and I love the trust early from Bush Hamden.
On the other side, getting Dylan Stewart's eyes in the backfield, getting him to lose discipline.
And they're running at him tonight. They're running at these defensive ends.
Here's Kendrick Law, the Alabama transfer. He's got a lead blocker or two. And he's forced out of bounds just shy of the marker. They went to Law in the second play of the game today. You mentioned it, Bush Hamden saying we got to get him more involved. Talking with wide receiver coach LaDamian Washington. They're scheming up ways to get the ball in his hands.
No doubt. Get him in space. Get him in green grass. But you know, you can tell already the game plan for Kentucky, attack the edges. I put both South Carolina's defensive ends as my impact players for a reason, but right now Kentucky's saying, good, we're going to hit you in the face and run right at you. Run contain has been suspect early for South Carolina so far.
Law in motion again. They go straight ahead. First down carry. Dantel Dowdell. Called the Big Blue Wall was MIA for a number of years in Lexington. It looks like it's back.
He brought Eric Wolford back in. Last year wasn't up to his standard. He told me before the game, he said, we had to rebuild that thing. Last year wasn't going to get it. And you guys mentioned some of the transfer portals and the attitude, the demeanor of this team. We even asked Coach Stoops about it. Feels like you want to go back to that team that punches back. It's not afraid to take a hit and wants to deliver a hit once they do it. He said exactly. And Kendrick Law, some of the guys up front of this offensive line, they fit that personality to a team.
1st and goal from the 10. Dowdell gets taken down.
Well, this time a great job by Brian Thomas, taking on a play side puller. He went same shoulder and turned that back inside. Cole, we talked about it a lot. Pullers and how South Carolina handles those tonight going to be a big part of this game.
Yeah, and the front there is going to be big with that as well. Who's actually there to do it?
They bring pressure up the middle. Boley, time to survey. Everybody's covered. That was max protection. And now he's going to throw on the run, and it's too wide, deep into the corner. And 3 out in the route that time. And couldn't locate Henry Boyer, the junior from Chicago.
A really good job of passing things off. It was kind of a man-zone combination. Nowhere to go for Boley. And now, how much does Bush Hamden trust his young quarterback? 3rd and goal, on the road. The crowd's going to get into it. Do you trust him to throw it here, or do you give him something easy and take the 3 points?
Law crosses in front of Boley. 5 wide, empty backfield. Line holds for now. And Boley gets taken down just past the line of scrimmage. Brian Thomas had the tackle. South Carolina's DBs playing well early.
Yeah, Brian Thomas working on Shiaz Pete, the transfer left tackle. Really good job of going speed to power. Getting Pete on his heels a little bit, then leaning into him, pushing him into the lap of Boley. Coverage was great too, nothing there. Really good red zone stand from this South Carolina defense.
And so Callaway on to attempt the field goal. 27-yarder. Kentucky has scored on each of its first 2 possessions, and Coway stays perfect on the season, 7 for 7. Cats up by 3. Tonight, Kentucky with a 10-7 lead. Both teams have scored on their possessions so far. If you weren't with us for the open, you missed Jordan laughing at me, which I didn't take too kindly to. But this is a consequential game for both programs because the result of this over the years directly impacts how you're going to finish the season.
Yeah, it's been a momentum game. The winner of this game has usually fared well for the rest of the season and built on the positive momentum that they got right here. Look, in a day and age where it's a 12-team college football playoff, say what you want, nobody's out of it yet. Both these teams looking really good tonight so far, especially on offense. If they can take some of this, build into SEC play, anybody's got a shot.
Well, and not to be a negative Ninny, but on the other side, if you don't win this game, it's tough sledding the rest of the way. And I think both coaching staff, as we talked with them this week, feel the enormity of this game. Speedster Nick Harbor back to return for South Carolina. Aiden LaRosse kicks it to him. Harbor won't return. Cole, the Kentucky ball boys having a hard time keeping the kicking balls with the team. What's going on down there?
Apparently down 3 kicking footballs as of now. So when they come by next time and they've got their giant ball bags, I'll ask them if they're able to get one back. I think I saw security grab the 3rd one, so maybe now just down 2. But hoping that Kentucky doesn't run out of footballs to kick here.
You see, was it the Pitt game that a ball boy kind of got into it with one of the players after an interception?
I missed that.
He was trying to get their ball back, and he's like, he threw it into the stand.
Down 1, so these guys have been working.
38 yards on the ground, first possession for South Carolina. Sellers rolls the pocket, Vendrivius Jacobs the catch. He is so good on the move.
Yeah, one of the guys right here, Vendrivius Jacobs. Big game last week, 128 yards, finally got him going, and a great start for Faison as well. Running through tackles, the run game looks much better. On the other side, Alex Safari, one of the veterans on that second level at linebacker, big responsibility, keeping an eye on Lenore Sellers. And Tarian Nichols, injured against Eastern Michigan, only played about 18 snaps, back in the lineup for a secondary that's been banged up for Kentucky.
They put Dingle, the former Kentucky tight end, in motion, and there's a big lick. They'll leave 2nd and 10. I want to go back to Sellers on the move. What makes him so good when he leaves the pocket?
Well, when you're an athlete and you're physically gifted, running on the run kind of takes the thinking out of throwing the football. I think when Lenoris gets in trouble, it's in the pocket when his feet get a little bit crazy, happy, and his mechanics start to get a little wonky. When he's on the run, he is perfect mechanically. His athleticism takes over, and you see the best version of it.
Sellers off to a sizzling start, 5 of 6 for 50 yards. Both offenses have mowed right through the opposing defense, and 1 quarter into this one, Cats up by 3 biggins. Tight one early with a freshman starting at quarterback for Kentucky. Moments ago, Cole Kublik caught up with Mark Stoops.
Coach Stoops, you come in with a quarterback, not a ton of experience in environments like this. Carter Boley's handled himself extremely well. Did you expect that tonight?
I'm very proud of him. Yeah, I felt like he handled himself very well. He's operating at a high level. We knew we had to be balanced, and we need to continue to do that, continue to be able to run the ball, and Cutter's making some good decisions right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Cole. Sellers going deep over the middle and just a hair high. Trying to find throw with 3 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown on the road against Mizzou last week. The deep ball really worked for South Carolina last week.
It did. Yeah, these young receivers, Rowe, who you just mentioned, Vendrivius Jacobs, the former transfer from Florida State, really starting to develop. And Shane Beamer mentioned we're going to go through some ups and downs with that group because they're so young, but they love the talent.
Came free. Sellers stays on his feet. What a move by Lenore Sellers, and he goes tumbling short of the marker. The slide started at about the 45. We'll see if they keep the offense on the field. How did he avoid that bull?
Wow, it's a great disguise early. Lubbock came right through the B gap. Nobody there, and that's just no, I'm 240 pounds, and you're not. That is some of the dynamic playmaking ability that make NFL scouts fall in love with the ceiling that Lenore Sellers has. Obviously didn't get all he needed for a first down, but great job avoiding a negative play.
Not a good punt by Mason Love off the side of his foot. And so South Carolina held off the scoreboard for the first time, and we get to see Cutter Boley once again. Redshirt freshman from Hodgenville, Kentucky. Talking to him this week, he said, I grew up a huge Kentucky fan. He was doing the John Wall, Big Blue Madness, rocking with his cousin, comes from an athletic family. I asked him, I said, how did your love of Kentucky impact you in the recruiting process? He said, I think I did a really good job of separating that early on. All of the big programs wanted it. He said, but then once I decided this was the place for me, I feel like it brings more passion to the field every time I put the uniform on. Here's Seth McGowan carrying it on first down for nearly 5 yards. Boley's first start came against Louisville in the season finale last year at home against the rivals. His dad, who's a dentist in Hodgenville, Kentucky, in LaRue County, didn't know he was starting until one of his patients let him know. I wouldn't play the game of surprising my dentist when he has sharp tools in his hand.
Turn the laughing gas up. Yeah, sure, he's starting.
On 2nd and 6, they swing it out to McGowan. He turns it upfield, and he picks up a first down. This guy was highly recruited coming out of Mesquite, Texas. He ended up with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. Put himself in legal hot water. He was facing 70 years in prison. So his football career
for an injured player
got sidetracked in a big way.
Defense. 2 injured players.
Lincoln Riley ends up kicking him and 2 other players off the team. In 22, he ended up at NAIA Texas College, practiced with the team but didn't play, got his grades up, then Butler County, and then New Mexico State last year, and 11 starts. He was on the same Oklahoma team that Shane Beamer was a coach on, and Shane said, I didn't know he was still playing. He said, I heard his name around media days, and I thought, wait a second, McGowan's still playing football?
Yeah, what a great redemption story. Obviously, bad choices early in his career derailed it, but got back on track. I thought it was cool that he kind of just started going through his old DMs from his recruiting time in high school. Like, man, who's still out there? Who do I still know? I want another opportunity. And through that connection, was able to connect with a coach that kind of handed him off to another guy he knew at New Mexico State, and then 1,100 yards later and second team All-Conference USA, and here he is.
And the Kentucky connection came with Jay Boulware, who was originally recruited him to Oklahoma and is now the special teams and running backs coach for Stoops.
He just adds a different element to this offense. Last year, backs were young but light, 185, 190 pounds, 195 pounds, 215 pounds. He's explosive and physical.
Beautiful play in the backfield by Cisse, coming in from his cornerback position.
Well, that's the thing. When you play Kentucky, because of how many tight ends they like to play with, if you play corner, if you play star or nickel, you're going to have to play down and around the line of scrimmage and make plays in the backfield. That time, Brandon Cisse. Great job in the backfield. And Bush Hamden now on 2nd long. Again, trying to dial up something for his young quarterback.
Boley's thrown into coverage a couple of times tonight, and coming on the first possession. That was Gilmore in motion. They run it on 2nd and 10. And Dantel Dowdell only picks up a few. What do you like about Boley's game and what fits him on 3rd and 7?
Well, I like his accuracy downfield. I like the fact that he's young and still a little bit naive, so he's willing to take some risks with the ball, but he's talented enough to make those throws. This is just going to be about, does Bush Hamden trust protection? Does he trust right tackle Alex Wolschlager one-on-one with Dylan Stewart, or are they going to need to help him out? There's Stewart up top. You got a running back to his side. Let's see if they help Chip and try to give Boley some time here.
Stewart comes to the inside and drills him. The ball came loose. It's scooped up by Carolina. And another non-offensive touchdown. Jatius Gear picked up the Dylan Stewart forced fumble and took it 41 yards.
Rolling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense for a touchdown.
Jatius Gear, right place, right time, and once again, it's Beamer ball. They're better non-offensively than they have been offensively this year.
And it was the first real opportunity Dylan Stewart got to pin his ears back and rush. A great stunt. They went TE, which means the tackle went down. He looped around to the inside.
That ball was definitely out. Gear took it the other 40 yards. It's a second defensive touchdown of the season for South Carolina to go with 3 punt return touchdowns.
You see Jagger Burton, the center, trying to help his quarterback out, but Dylan Stewart too fast. The stunt was timed perfectly, and Gear finished it off.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that. Max Joyce for the point after. And South Carolina with a 14-10 lead. Anderson is shaken up following the point after. Marquis Anderson at a Dorman High School down in Roebuck, South Carolina. Check in on him. Gear scores another non-offensive touchdown for Carolina. For this rivalry, they've met every season since 1992. Let's break down what might be the game-changing play.
Well, the coolest thing about this pressure is it takes all 5 defensive linemen and linebackers that are walked up. You're going to see the protection from center to the left side of your screen slide out. Center Jagger Burton's going to go way too far out. He has to stay in to be able to help pass that off, gain a little bit more depth instead of width. Problem is, Clayton White knows that by default they're going to slide that protection. So he's using 17 of Bronco as a decoy to go inside, pull the center with him, knowing that Dylan Stewart's too fast to get down around inside.
And now the mental challenge of a young quarterback to put that play behind him.
No doubt. Yeah, you got to go to the sideline and say, hey, that wasn't your fault. You didn't miss anything. It was just a better play by Dylan Stewart and a better timed stunt.
Dowdell picks up only 1. And this is what makes Beamer ball really hum. It's everything that happens when they don't have the ball taking advantage. First in the country with 5 non-offensive touchdowns, balances out the very pedestrian offense.
Yeah, and I think Cole made a great point of just Clayton White knowing that they're going to slide the protection. When I played South Carolina in 2012, my senior year, we played Jadeveon Clowney.
He was pretty good.
We didn't call protection directions. I walked to the line of scrimmage and I slid it to Jadeveon Clowney every single play.
To the slant. Oh, picked off! It's Gerald Kilgore. Kilgore weaves through. There's a flag down, but he's in the end zone on a 45-yard return. We'll see what they saw on the return, or if it happened before the pick, but certainly the location of the flag suggests it came on the interception return. Clayton White's defense.
Boy, watch DQ Smith right here. He's going to come into your screen. He's going to jump, and it's going to cause Cutter Boley to throw this ball a little further out in front to Kendrick Law, about a foot too far. Got spooked a little bit by DQ Smith jumping right in the passing window. Not a bad throw, but off by just a little bit, leads to that tip. And this game has turned in an instant.
The young quarterback has been forced into mistakes consecutive turnovers, which have led to scores for the opportunistic Carolina defense. Gerald Kilgore, the Tennessee Tech transfer, finds pay dirt on a pick six. Kentucky has taken a proverbial sucker punch. Back-to-back plays and takeaways for the Cox.
You just knew if Dylan Stewart got a chance to rush on 3rd and long, he was going to make something happen. He did in the very next play. DQ Smith jumps in the passing window, causes an errant pass, tip, interception, touchdown. And this I love, though. Zach Calzada, the veteran quarterback, comes up, gives Boley a little vote of confidence. Seth McGowan walks up, his running back says, hey, we're good. Don't worry about it. Shake it off. Some veterans that have seen a lot of schools, a lot of situations, giving some confidence back to their young quarterback.
Calzada's got a win against #1 in his back pocket. A bounce to the outside on the return. And the kicker saves the day. Let's get to the studio, find out what's going on in the league. Here's Dari.
All right, Tom, taking zip, 2 Ty Simpson touchdowns. Gunnar Stockton then finds Colby Young all alone. Georgia just fumbled, though, to Bama, tied on the 10.
Personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Number 13.
All right, thank you, Dari.
On the kicking team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
15-yard penalty, and Mark Stoops may have taken the hardest hit on that. He needs to get his get-back coach to work. Former Iowa safety back on his feet. Here's the penalty, and Stoops tripped over the yard mark.
Didn't that happen to Brian Kelly a couple of weeks ago? He's like, I still got it. I can take a hit from the yard marker, the first down chains. Boy, and this is where the crowd noise starts to get into it. You got a young quarterback, back-to-back turnovers.
There's pressure from the edge, and they try to run it. McGowan got spun right back into traffic and finds nothing. Matthias Gear the stop.
And Cole, we talked about it on the field before this game. Kentucky needed this game to go at a certain pace.
Everything going against them right now, Jordan, as far as what they want to be. They want to be a grounded out, ground and pound, run the clock, huddle up, take your time, and especially not have to be throwing the football and these DNs teeing off on them in pass pro.
Takeaways turned the game into Carolina's favor last year. Now the run game with McGowan. So to build on that, if you're Kentucky, can you just, being that we're early second quarter, still lean on the ground game?
Yeah, one of the things that Mark Stoops and Bush Hamdan echoed, we cannot get away from the run game. And look, yeah, you're down 11. That's okay. It's still the second quarter. Yeah. You don't want to get into a situation where you feel like you got to throw it every down.
4-man rush, slips out of his hand. And somehow Boley found it and found his way back to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Boley trying to throw this ball quick. He actually doesn't even have the laces on this throw. You see there, the laces away from his hand. Probably a little sweat from that center. Boy, I know we always used to work on quick game. Throw it without the laces, throw it without the laces. How about take the extra 0.12 seconds to grab the laces to be more confident in that throw?
And on a muggy, sweltering night, that sweat just pouring off. A go for it at midfield, 4th and 3. Carolina's loaded the box. Boley lets it go to the sideline and incomplete, out of bounds. Fred Ferrier, the intended receiver. Kentucky thought he had caught it with the toe down, and so did Ferrier.
Well, they wanted to throw the ball really quickly to Willie Rodriguez. Wasn't there. Coverage was great. About the only place that Boley could have gone with the ball. Where was the left foot?
Yeah, I think the left foot was down before the right foot was.
Yeah, the right foot is dragging, but that left foot's down first. Yeah. Great effort there on the edge by Fred Ferrier. And really a good ball. Like I said, only place that could have gone, but even better coverage by South Carolina. Again, you hate those. Second time it's been like a 4th and 3.
Yeah.
It's almost a little too long to run it between the tackles, so South Carolina probably knew something was going to get outside the pocket there.
But Cutter Boley must feel like the world is caving in on him. Right?
Yeah. That's why these conversations with Bush Hamdan, his offensive coordinator and quarterback coach on the sideline, really important to kind of just get him back into a non-emotional state.
With penetration up front by Kentucky as Oscar Attaway III gets taken down by Khalil Saunders.
You know, we haven't really seen the deep shot from South Carolina. And it's almost like you kind of smell blood in the water. Right now, if you're Mike Shula and Shane Beamer, everything's been going your way. At some point, I think you send Nick Harbor down the field and try to hit a big play.
Harbor part of the bunch formation, top of the screen.
Watch quarterback run here.
They ran Jared Brown out there as well, and there's your quarterback run. And Sellers keeps churning. They're nutting into something. What made that obvious to you?
Well, you send everybody out wide. You got 4 guys out in the bunch. You're really just saying, okay, are you going to send an extra guy out there and make the numbers 4-on-4? And that means that there's no linebacker, and now you're 5-on-4 in the box. Advantage offense.
Simple counting?
Simple counting for Lenore Sellers. Do you run a guy out there? Yep. Okay, now I'm going to run the football.
Passing game was on point against Mizzou last Saturday. 4-man rush. Sellers drilled, and beautiful catch by Jacobs.
Boy, Sam Green runs the same stunt essentially that Dylan Stewart did to cause the fumble a few plays ago. Looping around, and Sellers never saw this coming. He's looking to the field, does a great job of buying some time, moving to his right a little bit, and delivers a strike. Man, that is brave football right there, and a great catch by Vendravius Jacobs.
We mentioned the fact that this is the 4th different starting lineup up front for South Carolina in 5 games this season as Attaway tries to carry the load. And Cole, part of that is they're starting their 3rd different center already this year. That doesn't sound ideal.
It's not, but I was surprised Lenore Sellers just kind of waved it off. We asked him about the complications, be it gun or going under center, which we just saw a couple of plays ago. South Carolina not afraid to do that under Mike Shula, and he said, you got center quarterback exchange for a period every day of practice. It's the worst period of the day. Jordan can explain why, but it does help you get that continuity with other players.
The center's just complain.
It was my favorite period of the day.
Yeah, you guys stand over there and talk about playing golf and who you're
you chat about what you did on the weekend, and the centers just sit there in their stands like, yeah, obviously we'll get you.
It's like invisible chair for 15 minutes.
I think I'd say it was your favorite period for another reason, but nope. You got pretty tight with your offensive lineman at Vandy.
Yeah, we did.
They're down 5. What do you draw up here? QB run?
No, I think you're a little bit out of that quarterback run zone. I got Jordan Dingle, tight end, in the backfield here. So they sneak him into the flats.
Former Cat, they pressure Sellers. He's going the wrong way. And they push him all the way back to the logo. Mikeese Humphrey Grace, my goodness, a junior from Cincinnati. 13-yard loss.
Boy, you're going to see again another big stunt, and watch Rodney Newsome, the center, just slide a little bit too far in this direction. He's got to peel off on that defensive end. Grace looping around. Slide protection, Cole, once again having trouble with a big TE stunt.
The key for Brad White there, though, occupying that backside guard so he can't come down and help.
And beautiful punt this time by Mason Love as that one kicks out of bounds, and they'll mark it at the 5. A 39-yarder and a long field ahead for the young quarterback for the Cats, Scudder Boley.
It obviously isn't helping so far because Alabama's ahead in that game. But
did you see the Rizzler?
I did see the Rizzler.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, 6'7", I don't know.
Kentucky just trying to avoid disaster and get a little bit out of the shadow of the end zone. A couple of yards there on 1st down.
And this is where, if you're Bush Hamden, you go to the section of plays that have Kendrick Law's name on it for 2 reasons. You need to get a guy in space. The second reason is you need an easy throw for your quarterback. Whether it's a screen, a little touch pass, a jet sweep, try to get something positive that doesn't require Cutter Boley to sit in the pocket and read downfield. Right now, I think he's a little rattled from the last couple plays.
There's Law on a touch pass, as you said. And Law squirts free before taking a big lick from Brian Thomas. I know sometimes, though, play callers get reticent about everything on that sheet. You start thinking, well, he could make a mistake here. He could make a mistake there. And you can't, that list shrinks.
Yeah, you can't live in that world. But that's why I guarantee in between the last couple drives, Bush has said, hey, what do you like? Do you like this? Do you like this? Trying to find 2 or 3 plays for a third down that he knows Cutter loves, feels comfortable with, isn't thinking too much, and can get the ball out of his hands quickly. But this one here, 3rd and 1, big blue wall is going to take over and get some push up front.
Is about 1.5, and a bounce to the outside, right into the defender and right at the marker. Dowdell looks like he got it. It was Fred Johnson and Peyton Williams, and they'll move the chain.
Well, once again, getting on the edge, but really good job by Fred Johnson there of shaking off the Kendrick Law block. Peyton Williams jumping in there. That just, you feel like Kentucky's offense just kind of exhaled, though. Okay, we got a first down. Like, now we can get things going in the right direction.
Got to run it to the right side. That's not working. Dylan Stewart introduces himself to Dantel Dowdell.
And Dylan Stewart working on Henry Boyer, the 6'6", 265-pound tight end. Watch Dylan Stewart right here just shed off this block. Again, this tight end, 265 pounds. Nope, he just tosses him to the side, gets skinny in between the gap.
Cole, I can't imagine by design that they wanted the tight end to try and block one of the best pass rushers in the game.
You don't. If you did, Josh Caddis would be the guy that I might ask to. But you had your right guard, right tackle a little bit late off the football there. And I think that gave Dylan Stewart even more of an advantage, not that he needs it.
Yeah, Wolfschlager couldn't find him. They'll play action. Boley moving in the pocket, and now slings that one back to the band. Not even the marimbas were open.
And now you kind of get in the guessing game, right? Last time it was 3rd and long. Dylan Stewart had the big play, looping around. How do you change things? Do you not slide protection? Do you have it leave a back or a tight end over there?
Or you just run a draw?
Great point. Maybe just run a draw or a screen, trying to get the ball out of Cutter Boley's hands as quickly as possible. You don't want to give Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas another opportunity.
They rush 4, and Boley hit as he throws, threw it up for grabs. It is intercepted. Jump ball brought down by Brandon Cisse. Boley got waylaid by Desmond Umazulu.
Boy, they're really trying to get this deep sail route by Kendrick Law. Umazulu does a great job of coming off another stunt. And again, this was the concern, right? Do you want your young quarterback sitting back here under pressure trying to read a concept deep downfield? Lets that one go. And another young mistake from Cutter Boley. He knew it. As soon as he let that one go, he knew there was guys sitting there waiting for it.
Cats have turned it over 3 times tonight. Boley's thrown 2 picks, and he coughed it up on a hard hit on a sack. Looking for a screen on the other side for Faison. And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout. South Carolina.
That is the 2-minute timeout.
Has turned up the pressure defensively, and they are living between the ears of Cutter Boley. 21-10, Cox on top.
Guys.
All right, fellas, appreciate you. Great work today. Great day for the league. 3 turnovers in the second quarter for Kentucky. And Carolina trying to keep that avalanche rolling downhill. Catch jump. Sellers goes deep. Nick Harder. Incomplete. J.Q. Hardaway had the coverage. David Gustin jump.
Offside on the defense, number 60. 5-yard penalty. It is 2nd down.
That's a great job by Sellers, recognizing he got a free play. I would have loved a little more air on that ball, though. He had a 6'5" receiver. Let him run under it. Throws this one a little flat. Harbors in tight coverage, doesn't really have an opportunity to adjust to it. That could have been a flag there.
Sure. After that, 2nd and 5. Sellers rolls. That little dip got him some space and good blocking on the edge. It's a 1st down run. And big Michael Smith helps seal it for him.
It's pretty amazing how quickly he gains ground on the outside. I mean, it doesn't really look like he's running. He's so quick, but he's got a long stride. So when he turns that corner, unless you got a good angle on him, he's got a chance to break it every time he does.
Playing for an offensive coordinator, Coach Cam Newton, and helped the Panthers to a Super Bowl. In front of the Hall of Fame coach Don Shula, Mike Shula, former Alabama head coach, was on this staff last year as an analyst and takes over as the OC.
Look, I know this offense has had its ups and downs, is a good way of putting it so far this season, but he's a pretty good guy to be coaching your quarterback. Cam Newton under his belt, Josh Allen as well, and he's making plays like both those guys right now.
And they just can't bring him down. Ran right through multiple tacklers. There's a flag down on the far side. Flag down at the 5. For a 17-yard Matador run by Sellers again.
Holding on the defense, number 6. Half the distance to the goal. It is 1st down.
AQ Hardaway flag, 2nd against the Cats this drive after they played clean football up until now.
I mean, his contact balance and quickness in the pocket is so impressive.
To the ground game, and touchdown, Russell Faison. And we got extra pushing and shoving, and multiple flags. After some of the big guys mixed it up, Pravon Ball was in the middle of it on the Carolina side, and Khalil Saunders kept it going for Kentucky. Call those big defensive linemen. They don't take kindly to you taking the block all the way to the sideline.
Yeah, the bench escort, not something that they think kindly on.
Rolling's a touchdown on the field. After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 92 on the defense. That penalty being forced on the kickoff. Touchdown is good.
I mean, I think even if that's one that who have gone the other way, Shane Beamer probably welcomes it. As much criticism as this offensive line's taken, seeing some fight out of those guys, you probably love seeing it.
Well, you can't do that. And so they'll enforce the penalty on the kickoff choice on for the point after. Danger zone for the Cats.
Boy, Trovon Baugh is going to be like a bouncer in a club saying, hey, you've had one too many, son. Let me show you the door. And look at him flexing. He goes, yep, you're in the white paint now. And Khalil Saunders didn't like it too much. I don't blame him. But you probably shouldn't rip a guy's helmet off. That's going to be a flag every time. And Baugh is loving it. I mean, this matchup, Kentucky, South Carolina, always has so much emotion, always has crazy plays. Nothing crazier than this. Look, he's going to use the ball to keep him up. Oh, just touch it to the ground a little bit. That's probably the 3rd time that someone has hit Sellers in the pocket. He spun off it, turned a negative into the positive. I think the most positive aspect of South Carolina tonight has been Faison in this traditional run game that has been pretty absent for the first part of this season.
They're going to drop kick this kickoff and be ready for Shane Beamer to have drawn something unique up. He said, I don't like touchbacks. I want to give my guys a chance to make it happen. That's a legal move if the ball hits the ground first. You can't punt it, but you can drop kick it. And the coverage is there to stand him up at the 20.
Hey, you remember when Doug Flutie did the drop kick for a field goal back? What was he on the Patriots?
Bills, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah, either one.
I think it was the Patriots when he did that.
It was the Patriots, but this is cool. A little drop kick.
You know, Missouri's been running this a lot this year, and it makes the kick a lot more unpredictable. I was talking to the South Carolina special teams coach about it when we were here last time. Joe DeCamillis, who spent a long time in the NFL. And the special teams coaches, it's like drawing stuff up. 61 ticks left in the half for Cutter Boley. You must be seeing ghosts. And then we'll keep it on the ground with McGowan. Drive chart is not pretty.
Yeah, it's been the inefficiency on first down.
South Carolina takes their first timeout of the half.
They've been in too many second longs, too many third and longs with a young quarterback and a couple of the most talented pass rushers in the SEC on the other side. Not a good recipe for Mark Stoops in this offense that started so hot. I mean, that first drive, you're like, oh, picture perfect.
Now looking at a 2nd and 3. Shane Beamer thinking we can get them into a 3 and out or turn the heat up on them again, and we can get the ball back for the half ends. First, Shane's got to. Was he just tying his shoes? You could take the bunny around the tree. That's not a time to come unlaced.
I mean, got to be ready to run up and down that sideline and call a timeout if you need to.
Law is on the outside bottom of the formation. Here he comes. And it goes straight ahead. That's a first down run, a little bit more on a shifty move to the outside by Seth McGowan.
Two good runs back to back from Seth McGowan.
I mean, you don't take a shot, do you?
I was literally just thinking, like, how much do you believe in your young quarterback? Because you need to get back in this game. At some point, you can't baby him. And I know it hasn't been good the last 3 drives. A mistake's been made, but
5 wide, 4-man rush. He'll buy some time with the roll, and he's got nowhere to go. Another sack for the South Carolina defense as Brian Thomas chased him down from behind. Third
South
sack of the
Carolina
night.
takes their second charge timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
I tell you what, I love the play call because you get your young quarterback out on the run. He struggled to see things in the pocket. Problem is, you got to throw that football away. You cannot turn back in once you get to the outside here. So they're just going to move the pocket, get your young quarterback on the run, get him out of the way of Dylan Stewart. You got a tight end there helping to protect. Right now, throw it away. Nobody's open. You're not going to make a play late out by the sideline with guys trailing you from behind.
Carolina took a timeout. So they'll get the ball back. And the Gamecocks will also get the ball to start the second half. Second and 13. Boley to the outside. Clock stops at 34.
Great confident little rip there. It's a stop route on the outside for Boley.
The math doesn't necessarily work out that South Carolina was going to get the ball back by using their timeout. And I wonder if Clayton White's saying to Shane, hey, let's keep this quarterback on the field.
Yeah.
Let's keep firing all guns at him. Here comes the pressure. Got it away. And Boley's now found a rhythm as Jamori Macklin comes up with his first catch of the game.
Yeah, and it was a really good blitz pickup by Jason Patterson, third string running back. Okoronkwo came right down the A-gap. And Boley, good job standing in there. He could feel that. He knew there was a free runner. He knew his running back was going to try to get there. Didn't blink. Running a accelerated 2-minute drill right now at a high level as the young quarterback.
Comes from an athletic family. Here's a 5-man rush. Boley can't escape. It's another sack for South Carolina. This one belongs to Nick Barrett.
That's a tough pressure to manage right there.
Kentucky takes its first timeout of the half. 32nd timeout.
And as a young quarterback, you walk up to the line of scrimmage and see this, see all these guys postured, ready to come. You got to take your quick outlet, which is going to be Kendrick Law right there on a little under route. It's wide open. You got to pull up and dump it to him, knowing you don't have enough guys to block for as many as South Carolina was sending.
It was interesting watching the Eastern Michigan tape. Cutter Boley had a number of plays where he pulled the ball back, where he pump faked, and it wasn't necessarily to get a guy open. It felt like a young quarterback who was unsure of what he was seeing.
No doubt. The hardest thing for people who haven't played the position to understand is how quickly you have to have those answers. You get that ball in your hands and you have a split second to go, wait, where was my hot outlet? I know my read was supposed to be the field, but shoot, they brought blitz. Kendrick Law's backside, and even if you're a half second late, you're too late right there. He might have known that and been trying to get there, but the pocket condenses, closes in on him. Half second late is too late most of the time for young quarterbacks.
Another 2nd and 13, and a dump off to Jason Patterson. Maybe got 3. Troy Pikes the stop.
Kentucky takes its second timeout of the half.
We're just going to stick around for a while.
We're milking it. No, maybe I think Kentucky probably wants a chance to maybe heave this one down into the end zone. Boley's got plenty of arm.
Yeah.
And again, you're down 3 scores. If you got an opportunity to just heave one down the end zone, see if someone comes down with it, might as well.
Well, not a lot has worked out for Cutter Boley tonight, but it feels like this possession, he's found a little bit of rhythm, even though it's coming fits and starts.
Yeah, and Clayton White's still bringing heat. There was a couple really nice throws to the perimeter while guys were in his face and the pocket was condensing. So you've seen some mistakes from the young quarterback, but I think you're seeing a little bit of resilience here on this drive. And this, even if they don't get points, I think will go a long way for the confidence for this young kid in the second half.
He's seen everything they can throw at him. It's like being on a safari, seeing a giant tortoise one moment, penguins the next.
If you can get about 8 to 10 yards here, you also got a chance to get a field goal.
4-man rush, pulled it back again, unsure. Now he unloads and threw it away. There is 1 second left in the half.
He was expecting his outside receiver to stop his route about 10 yards downfield. He kept running. That's why he kind of double clutched that one. This is where 1 second. Oh, and I think
it's going to be intentional grounding.
Yeah.
Officials discuss it. That'll be a loss and down.
Standing in the middle of the pocket there. All of his receivers are about 50 yards downfield, and that one went straight out of bounds. I think they're talking about right now.
Probably the great dinner at Hall's last night.
Intentional grounding on the offense, number 8. That's a loss of down. It will be 4th down. Kentucky takes a timeout to prevent the 10-second runoff. That is their final timeout of the half.
All right. He's given up a score on a pick 6.
Yeah.
He's given up a score on a deep drop and a sack.
And so what I'd worry about here is if you are trying to buy some time and throw it downfield, what if you get hit before you have an opportunity to do so? The risk reward on calling a timeout and having one more play here.
Well, it certainly impacts the type of play, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Your traditional Hail Mary's probably not going to be a factor given what's
no doubt. So maybe this is a quick throw, try to just see if he can break a tackle.
Yeah. Let Kendrick Law get a short catch and run a little bit.
Yeah.
Lane White will position his pieces on the chessboard. Dylan Stewart, number 6, top of the defensive line for South Carolina in a 2-point stance.
South Carolina takes their final timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
Can't take any more.
I mean, you got it. You might as well use it.
Sure. Cutter Boley has had Garnet Black in his lap all night.
He's taken a beating so far. Standing in the pocket, trying to survey the field. The South Carolina defense has hit home with a couple big stunts. One by Dylan Stewart. One by
Brian Thomas got one.
Brian Thomas there. It's been a physical night for Cutter Boley so far. You're going up against Clayton White, one of the more underrated defensive coordinators in this league. See Zach Calzada there, who is available. He's had a banged up shoulder.
He looked good in warm-ups, looked healthy. 4-man rush. They get rid of it quickly to Willie Rodriguez. And Rodriguez pitches to the edge.
Got to be careful.
It's Macklin on a U-turn on UG, and then, whoa! Huge hit! Scooped up by South Carolina's Jalen Kilgore. And Kilgore gets taken down. We're just throwing caution to the wind. Another Kentucky turnover. This one won't sting as bad as the first few did.
That is the end of the first half.
Man, oh man. There's been no love lost between these two head coaches over the years. It has added incredible spice to this rivalry. These two programs who have faced off every year since 1992. Kentucky threw the first punch. South Carolina answered with a second quarter flurry and put the Cats on their back. Let's get you down to the field. Coach Hublick with Shane Beamer.
Can you just attempt to describe what the last 3 minutes of that half were?
We told our team that this season's a 12-round fight. Round 1, 2, 3, and 4, the last 4 weeks, we kind of gotten bloodied a little bit. Tonight's round 5. So I would say this whole half and the last 3 minutes has been a street fight with a lot to look at, good and bad, that we've done to do some good stuff and screw some stuff up.
Having said that, styles make fights. You've turned this game into your style fight, allowing your defensive ends, your pressure packages to be able to attack the way that you want to, be a little more free offensively. How important is that for the second half?
Really important. We got a long way to go. We got to finish drives. We got to protect our quarterback a little bit better. But we knew that, the most physical team's going to win this game every year. And that's a physical freaking bunch that we're playing. And you couldn't tiptoe into here anything. The first couple of series defensively, I was disappointed because we got out physical by Kentucky on those first 2 drives. They took the ball, ran it right down our throats. But they've responded the right way, but we got a long way to go. And we're in a round 5 of a street fight right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
And just a reminder, there are no rules in street fights. Grab whatever you can. And that has paid off for South Carolina. Shane Beamer said they delivered the first punch. South Carolina has dropped a hammer on them in the second quarter and built an 18-point lead. Yikes. Plenty to get you caught up on. Let's get to the studio. Here's Dari, Watson, and Doring. Gentlemen, in a row head-to-head with Kentucky and halfway to number 4. It's a 28-10 lead for Lenore Sellers and the Gamecocks as we hit the second half. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Coach Hublick down on the field. This was a tight game going into the second quarter. And then Kentucky's wheels didn't just come off, but they're riding on the rims by the time we got to half.
Looking like Cole in his rental car. Look, it couldn't have started any better for Cutter Boley. Drove right down the field, and then it couldn't have gotten any worse. This South Carolina defense started to take over on 3rd and longs. The scoop and score for a touchdown on the Dylan Stewart forced fumble. Interception, return for a touchdown by Kilgore. And Tom, you mentioned the wheels were off and the young quarterback started to panic a little bit under pressure, forcing a deep throw. As he's getting hit, was picked off by Brandon Cisse. 2 defensive touchdowns. And Rasul Faison capping it off. I will say, though, 4 turnovers, 2 defensive touchdowns. It's still an 18-point game. If you're Kentucky, the message in the locker room was, let's not abandon the run. Let's get back to what the first drive looked like and see if we can't just chip our way back into this game and try to take the crowd out of it in the second half.
They had opportunities in this game last year. South Carolina put the ball on the ground a couple of times. Kentucky just didn't pick it up. They're going to need some of that to go their way, too, in addition to what you're talking about. Aiden LaRosse will kick it off. South Carolina will have possession to start the second half.
And to that point, this Kentucky defense has had opportunities to get Lenora Sellers down.
Yeah.
Cause a fumble, cause a bad decision. Sellers has just done a great job of avoiding that pressure and turning a negative into a positive.
Yeah. Sellers has been a matador tonight. Chance for a return from the goal line. And here come the special teams again. Out to the 40-yard line. Cole, nothing's gone right for Kentucky since the second quarter started. What did Mark Stoops have to say?
Very interesting conversation. He actually went the exact direction that you and Jordan were going on a couple of things. One, he said, we're playing the exact type of game that you can't play against this football team. Momentum, allowing pass rush, letting them pin their ears back, giving them turnovers. He said, we're going to have to stick with our game plan early in the second half. He said, we cannot turn into a drop-back football team against what this defense has to offer.
Did you commiserate with him and said, hey, I had a flat tire today too?
I didn't think it was all the way flat.
The previous play is under further review.
So therefore I didn't consult Coach Stoops about it, but that's your problem now.
Yeah. It will be flat by the time I get back to the hotel. Now you can drive my rental car wherever you want to go. Shane Beamer not happy with their execution. They played a very sloppy game against Missouri last week, especially when it came to penalties. And Mark Stoops was signaling that South Carolina had signaled for a fair catch, no return with the T signal. Remember that kind of turned into a thing with Brett Bielema last year.
And it became a point of emphasis for the officials. Any signal like that, you see Nick Harbor right there on the left side of your screen putting his arms out. A lot of teams would try to fake that, put the arms out to get the kickoff team to let their guard down.
Number 8 on the return team gave an illegal fair catch signal. Therefore, the ball will be placed at the 25-yard line. First down.
And your point, I was just talking to Steve Shaw, national coordinator of officials, about this last week. The rule has changed. It's no longer, well, was it above the shoulders or not? It's anything that signifies, especially that T signal. What I don't understand is why one return guy would give it and not give a vocal to the guy who's actually returning it.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication there.
Please reset the game clock to 15 minutes. 15 minutes, please.
Last week, 14 penalties cost South Carolina 98 yards. 7 of those were pre-snap. 6 false starts and 1 offside. And here's a swing to Brady Hunt. Hurdle for man for a first down. It was a return to fundamentals this week in practice, and Shane Beamer said if we made a mistake, if we jumped, we would stop, we would go over it, everybody would do up downs, and then we'd restart the period. A lot of my coaches weren't happy with it. It cost them numerous plays that they otherwise thought they would have within that practice period. It's Harbor in motion. Faison left side, nothing. Cole?
I got to jump in on this with you because I was a little confused with Coach Beamer. I want to see if Jordan's on my side here. So they're going towards the end of practice. They're simulating some game situations. They had the false start that you mentioned, and Coach Beamer said, that's it, practice over, clock's drained, we're done. Had the penalty. So they're unavailable to go run the last 3-4 plays of practice, of which I would have probably celebrated, that we didn't have to go run any more plays of practice.
Well, the way I understand it, the wide receiver who jumped off sides on that play was going to be the receiver on the deep ball for the last play of practice. So he missed a chance to buff out his chest.
Well,
loss of 1, 3rd and long couple.
Also, that's an offensive lineman talking. Your belly's a lot closer to the ground. Your up down doesn't require quite as much movement as us skinnier guys. You do have more weight to get up off the ground, but
I think Cole lost his somewhere in the offseason.
Oh,
so
Cole's lean and mean right now. What are you weighing, Cole?
230-ish.
Let's go.
We got to get this back under control.
Well,
Offside on the defense. Went in the neutral zone, caused a reaction. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Steven Sackham Souls is going to have to change his nickname to Jumpin' Souls.
And this time, Rodney Newsome, the center, just a little late. As soon as you see that defender step across the line, you want to snap it to avoid your guy jumping and them stopping the play, right? You want a free play every chance you can do it. Obviously, we've talked about Newsome, the 3rd different starter at center. That spot's been a little bit of a revolving door, as has most of the offensive line.
Off the hands of the intended receiver.
I feel like, as Jordan mentioned there, you avoid that free play, purple freeze, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things Nick Harbor does well. Having him on that specific play is one of the bigger advantages you could ever ask for.
Yeah, Olympic sprinter speed, 6'5" frame. A free play is a defensive nightmare when that guy's over there.
So an empty possession for South Carolina, and Kentucky holds them out of the end zone, trying to find some momentum with their offense in a moment. This punt is boomed all the way to the end zone for a touchback. Tomorrow night on the SEC Network, settle into your couch, grab your remote and watch Read and React. Cole, one thing that you'll be going over is this.
Yeah, it's pretty much slide protection every week. We talk about how much we hate it, but we'll talk some other protections here, if you don't mind. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. I'll give you some protection here from Kentucky, and one thing Jordan's going to highlight is being a little bit late off the football. Ross Pete is here, and you're going to get the twist on the outside. Then the shoulders get turned coming back inside. So when you're in that pass set and you want to trade something off, you have to bump it off flat. When you go turn and try to bump it, and that loop man's coming, it's almost impossible for you to retrack and be able to get back outside and pick him up.
Cole, kid over your left shoulder, what's he doing?
What are you doing, kid?
What's up?
There you go.
What's up?
Kentucky's got the football, trying to ground and pound. I misspoke. If you try to watch that show tomorrow night, you won't see it. Tune in Monday night for Read and React. Dowdell Jr. from Picayune, Mississippi, exits the game. First 2 drives, 141 yards and a couple of scores. Since then, disaster.
And what was it? It was the run game, and it was attacking the perimeter, forcing these good pass rushers to play the run physically and break and contain. That was the recipe for Kentucky early.
Here's a screen. Law turned it upfield instead of cutting to the middle.
And getting that guy involved.
Yeah.
Just getting Kendrick Law the ball with some space to run and make a play.
You know, he's an interesting story because of his time at Alabama. When he showed up listed as just an athlete, Nick Saban moved him around a couple of places, and last year they moved him around a couple places. He was in return game. He was in the backfield some. He's wide receiver. This Kentucky coaching staff talking about him said, you know, he doesn't have a whole lot of football experience from strictly the wide receiver position.
Yeah, he was never an every down wide receiver where he could practice and learn the entire route tree.
Yeah.
Right? He was much more of a gadget guy, as you're kind of seeing him here tonight as he continues to develop his full repertoire of routes that he feels comfortable with. But I will say, and South Carolina fans know this well, when he was at Alabama initially, everybody was saying he looks like Deebo Samuel. Because he looks like a running back that plays receiver. He's physical, still has that frame, and if he can evolve into something like that for Kentucky with a young quarterback, that would be really good.
Boley escapes the pocket and then gets popped from behind and then from in the front. Fred Johnson knocked him right into Peyton Williams.
You know what I love, though? Took a 3-step drop from the gun, hitched up once, and then ran. How many times we see him in that first half as he takes a big hit to end this one, little ricochet hit. How many times we see him sit there and wait and wait and wait and take a hit. Right? Timing, listening to your feet as a young quarterback. Take your drop, hitch up once. If the ball's not out, you got time for one reset, then you got to take off and run.
Undercut tackle to take down Dowdell by DQ Smith. Back to action. He didn't play last week against Missouri, the senior out of Spring Valley High School right here in Columbia. On 2nd and 9. Goes downfield and incomplete. Chased by Dylan Stewart. There is a flag in the secondary. Ferrier was the target.
Yeah, Ferrier was getting held a little bit from Peyton Williams, I think. A little tug at the back of the jersey.
Pass interference on the defense, number 31. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
See Boley rolling out to his right, trying to hit that crossing route from Ferrier. You see right here on the left side of your screen, there's the initial hold, and then a little tug at the back of the jersey. I'll tell you what I would love to see there, Boley just dump it off to Seth McGowan in the flats. He was kind of waiting for that. He had Seth McGowan for about a 5-yard gain. Easy dump off. Sometimes as a young quarterback, it's the toughest thing, just to take the singles, not try to hit doubles and triples every play.
And how about a reverse flea flicker? Boley down the sideline. Rodriguez has it batted away. Bakari Swain, who's been a special teams monster, nearly had a takeaway.
Don't know if I love the play call on first down. They just struggled on first down, getting into long.
You feel better if you would have picked up 6 on first down.
Yeah.
You could take a shot.
Yeah. A 2nd and short, right? I think would have been a better place to try that little gadget. Now you're back behind the chains.
Trying to stretch it and unstretchable. McGowan tackled by Sean Murphy and Miles. Pardon me.
Sean Murphy. Florida State transfer, formerly at Alabama as well. Great job reading that one and making a physical tackle. And here's where Kentucky didn't want to be. 3rd and long. No Dylan Stewart in the game. Oh yeah, he is in the game. Dylan Stewart and Brian Thomas.
Troy Pike's 33 at D tackle. We're going a little bit lighter there.
Boley. Taken down again. Held the ball, and Brian Thomas made him pay. The 5th sack of the night for the Gamecocks.
Well, you're going to see speed rushes from both Brian Thomas this way and Dylan Stewart. And watch as Boley steps up and navigate. He's got to go. As soon as the pocket breaks down, you hitch. Now you got to go. You got to get north and south there. You know you got people tracing from behind. As a quarterback, you got to get up north and south, try to get as many yards as you can.
Good news, bad news. First punt of the night for Kentucky. Usually that's a positive.
That's pretty crazy,
isn't it?
False start on the offense, number 3. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So now they get a punt it away from 5 yards deeper against the most dangerous man in college football. Bakari Swain, sophomore from Carrollton, Georgia, has 3 of the 24 punt return touchdowns in the entire country. He's taken 3 of the 7 that he's touched back to the house. Wow, what a kick. Swain lets it go over his head, and it checks up, but then it trickled just inside the pylon. It's a 56-yarder. Aiden LaRosse showing off his leg. Do you think, thanks, Dart, you think Kirby feels the pressure in that game?
Absolutely. I mean, the narrative has been his record against Alabama, right? 1-6. Everybody else is like 63, I think, in the SEC. And obviously 0-1 against Kalen DeBoer so far. But again, all the pressure in that game still on Alabama. Georgia can afford a loss.
Yeah, they got a mulligan.
Alabama, you lose here.
False start.
You're on life
Offense,
support.
Number 51, 5-yard penalty. It is first down.
And I mean, life support is in the expectation is college football playoff. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, 9 wins is not acceptable there. So, oh, there you go. I was right off the top of the dome.
That was really good.
Yeah.
It's like he studied this week. Lenore Sellers, an efficient 8 of 11 through the air. Hadn't hit on a deep one, though. And intermediate game pays off as he slings it to Vendrivius Jacobs.
Boy, I tell you, one of the parts of his game, obviously we've talked about the athleticism, but throwing on the run outside the pocket. He was the most dangerous quarterback in the country last year. Had 14 pass plays at 20+, 7 touchdowns outside the pocket. See, one of the best in the country as you see the numbers there.
Second down. Matt Fuller getting an opportunity tonight. J.Q. Hardaway with the stop. Fuller, second-year freshman from Jessup, Georgia, at a Wayne County High School where he played for Jabo Shaw. That's Connor Shaw's brother.
Oh,
good to see Connor tonight.
What did he do? What do they call that? He
came out of the train.
Yeah, he was in the train. Crowd went crazy seeing Connor Shaw jump out. Obviously meant so much to this program as a player.
And he's been through a tough couple of weeks health-wise. Yeah. And the sellout crowd erupted when they saw him. I was talking with some of his golf buddies at halftime, and they said, first time I've cried at a game. The lead play for Sellers. And he picks up the first down. I asked Shane Beamer yesterday, I said, does Lenore Sellers have to run the ball? There he is. And his son with him. Address the crowd. Really cool. Collapsed on the sideline of his son's football game a couple of weeks ago, suffering a medical emergency. Going back to Beamer, I said, does Lenore Sellers have to run the ball effectively for this offense to work? And there's a bit of a hesitation, and he said, we don't need to run him 15 times a game on design runs.
Right.
But we got to run him some. And we got to do it, not just because he can do it, because it's a great way to keep the defense honest.
Yeah, the threat of him running on any play means you got to dedicate at least one hat for a defender to him, and that means you have numbers elsewhere. That's what you've heard it before. Maybe you don't know what it means. We say, the quarterback run that adds a hat. Well, yeah, because someone has to account for him. It means you don't have to block that guy. So now you can double team more on the front side, add an offensive lineman to the front side.
There's a flag on the play. My only question for you football folks, why hat instead of helmet? Like, you're adding
a great question.
Just the extra syllable is too much for a coach to get out?
Yeah, way too.
Get a hat on a hat. Time to waste. Get a helmet on a helmet. That's too much.
It's too much.
2 syllables. Helmet. Yeah, it is 2 syllables. I had to do the class
Personal
thing.
foul, unnecessary roughness, number 78 on the offense.
That's Baugh.
That's a 15-yard penalty. It is second down.
Junior from Pace Academy in Atlanta was tied up with a defender at the end of the first half. It happened after the play. Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, Baugh was the one that took Saunders all the way to the sideline and got into it with him. Got his helmet ripped off, so he's been bringing the emotion.
And once again, I think if you're Shane Beamer, you're excited about that. You wanted to see a little bit of this. I know Roman Harper would love that too, because he doesn't think it's fair when defensive linemen get hit or pushed around.
Put the belly on a man.
He doesn't like when
finish
the
it.
Put on him.
Jeff Saturday is a great segment on Get Up where he loves that too. Put the belly on a man.
And they put the belly on Sellers and take him down. Tavion Gadsden with the sack for Kentucky.
It's a really good job in coverage. They're trying to get a couple crossing routes, little flood concepts. Protection initially was good, just really that's a coverage sack. Well done job on the back end. This Kentucky defense, and Back-to-back drives. This defense is holding their own to start the second half.
Under 5 to go in the third quarter. Oscar Attaway the third. It's a good chunk of it back. Well, that'll bring on the punt team for South Carolina. Sellers 9 of 12, but only 87 yards through the air. He's been sacked twice. After a 300-yard passing game last week in Como. Mason Love's going to fake it, and they throw it out to the tight end, Mo Brown. He's stopped short by half a yard.
Oh, the near ref is saying first down, but the far judge looked like he had it spotted short.
He spotted at the 40. They had to get to nearly the 41, and they rule it a first down.
Rolling on the field. The player got beyond the line to gain.
The line to gain was just past the 40, not quite the 41. Ooh. And I don't think the ball did.
No.
The ball was still behind the 40.
That was a great shot right there. His lower half was past the 40, but that ball, you're right, was behind it. That was a quick little motion by that near judge,
the line judge.
to say that was a first down. They're definitely looking at it upstairs now.
Well, Kentucky thought it had forced a punt, but then Shane Beamer reached into his bag of tricks. We'll take a timeout, cover it, and we get back. While we're at break, they reverse this call that it was a first down on the fake punt, and you see whether or not Mo Brown was down short of the 40. Initially ruled a first down, and ball is down before the 40, and so we see Cutter Boley making his first road start tonight. It's been quite a tilt-a-whirl of quarterbacks since Will Levis was there. They've dipped their toe into the transfer portal and whiffed on a few. Devin Leary wasn't a good fit. Brock Vandegrift was a quick study, and then Zach Calzada with a shoulder injury, and then got his spot taken by Boley. Kendrick Law took a hit and kept going.
Yeah.
How and why have they missed?
Well, it's fit, right? You can evaluate a quarterback that has talent, but this is a unique system at Kentucky, right? They're a downhill run team. They'll mix under center, play action pass. Devin Leary was a shotgun 100% of the time, spread offense, not a right fit. Brock Vandegrift hadn't played a ton of football. Skill set wise wasn't what they were looking for. And Zach Calzada, again, came from some wide open offenses and really struggled in this time pushing the ball downfield off play action.
Now 2nd and 3 for Boley. Going deep, got a man, got a step, and too much for Jamori Macklin.
Boy, this is so close. This is the throw that Cutter Boley has got to make, and it's not a bad ball, just overthrown by about a yard. Jamori Macklin had a step, and now a massive third down.
I was standing right here by him, Jordan. It was a big win off the line of scrimmage for Macklin.
Yeah, dipped inside, got vertical. Might be 4-down territory here, even if they don't pick it up.
And they pick it up with Dowdell crossing the 30.
Great job again by Josh Caddis. He's doing a really good job blocking. Thought it was interesting talking to Clayton White. He's like, man, 84, he's gotten a lot better. We pushed him around a little bit last year. He said he had a heck of an offseason. He's bigger, he's blocking better. Pretty high praise for Kentucky's tight end Josh Caddis from an opposing defensive coordinator. Just noting how much he's improved in the offseason.
250-pounder out of Muller High School in Cincinnati. And they run it behind him, and McGowan takes a hit.
Guys, I asked some of the offensive staff, really in our meetings and on the field before the game, what's different about Josh Caddis? Because it just looks like it is. Said it's the first off-season he's been in Lexington that he's been healthy. Nagging injuries, knee, shoulder, hips, different things like that. took his training, took his nutrition a little bit more serious this offseason, went back to where you just mentioned Tom Cincinnati to train a little bit on his own. He said they can tell a noticeable difference as well.
Dad tied in Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, then played in the pros. Second and 4, trying to run it again. And it's a loss of 1.5 yards for McGowan. Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy in on the stop, the Texas A&M transfer.
Yeah, one of those pieces on the inside. I think that's where South Carolina is the most different this year. It's the interior defensive lineman. And Clayton White, their defense coordinator, even noted, we've been wearing down in the third and fourth quarters inside. They don't rotate a ton. Those guys play a lot of snaps.
Jordan, they have 2 defensive tackles that are in the top 7 in the league as far as most reps this season.
A lot of snaps for 2 dudes. Under center, Gilmore tries to turn back upfield and gets smoked. Jalen Kilgore, likely first-round pick in this summer's draft as a defensive back, came in and put a hat on him.
Watch Jalen Kilgore come from the backside, navigate all the way, and stop this cutback. Whew. I mean, he went a long way, navigated a lot of traffic there to make that stop.
42-yard attempt for Callaway. He's already made from 27. That was on the second possession of the game. Good. $15-point game. Kentucky's defense has put them in position to hang around when we go to the fourth quarter.
Put on my J's, you already know the dealer.
You know the dealer. 28-13, South Carolina on top of Kentucky.
It's an important field goal for Kentucky. At least cut it to a 2-score ball game here as the fourth quarter approaches. Defensively, really good start for this Kentucky defense. Stalemate in South Carolina on their first 2 drives. They're going to need to do it again.
There's Nick Harbor. Can't get past the 16th this season. For every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, All-State. Cole, if those nets had been up, then South Carolina fans wouldn't be stealing Kentucky's balls.
Well, apparently there was a reason for that after the first Kentucky touchdown that I wasn't able to see, but somebody got hit with a football.
Oh. Fresh set of downs for Lenora Sellers and South Carolina with 3 and out. Previous possession and delivers that one on time. Great fake. And off to the races goes Jacobs. And Gravius Jacobs finally caught up to by J.Q. Hardaway. 61-yard catch and run.
I love the play design. You get Lenora Sellers out on the run again. And Jacobs,
that's the end of the third
sits
quarter.
right in the zone and makes the rest of it happen with his legs. Explosive play for South Carolina to jumpstart this second half.
Sellers with the dump off, Jacobs doing the work. And South Carolina's flipped the field on the Cats as we go to the fourth. 15-point lead for South Carolina, but Kentucky's putting the pressure on moments ago. Cole with Shane Beamer.
Coach Beamer, emotional football game. How do you make sure your team keeps their foot on the gas in the fourth quarter?
We got to finish. We were leading going into the fourth quarter last week at Missouri, and we got outscored 11-0. And we didn't make plays, and we didn't coach well enough. So we got a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter, and we need to go finish by executing. Obviously, that was a pretty good start right there with Dre. Points on this drive are absolutely critical.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And he turns to Matt Fuller, running back. He wanted to get involved in the offense and try to give a lift to the running game. South Carolina still hasn't crossed the 100-yard mark on the ground tonight. After the fireworks, waiting for the smoke to clear, and they go right back to Fuller.
The weird thing is, Tom, I just came to the back of the end zone down by where these guys are. It's 100% clear for about the first 10 yards up above all the players. So I can see where you guys are, and it's obviously looks like it's that Bears game back in '85, whatever it was.
A little bit later, but yeah, I remember that game. Here's Sellers, and he picks up a first down after he got hit. They're still waiting for Randall Cunningham to try and attempt to pass in the fog. Carolina's got a first down, starting the fourth quarter, up by 15.
You feel like if South Carolina gets points on this drive, as Shane Beamer referenced, you make it a 3-score game with 1 quarter. That's about as close to out of reach as it feels with how Kentucky's pass game has been tonight. So crucial that this Kentucky defense comes up with a stop, turnover, missed field goal. This drive route right here could be the make or break.
Well, and then cross the bridge when we get to it, but then Kentucky has to play without abandon, and South Carolina's already got 5 takeaways. Yeah. They need their defense to come up with a monster stop. Work it to the perimeter, and Mazio Bennett. This time we called his name tonight.
Yeah, Bennett's a guy they're still just trying to get more involved. I mean, he had the 2nd most receptions last year of any receiver as a true freshman. Again, this entire unit at receiver for South Carolina extremely young, and he just hasn't had the same success that he found last year. Those touches have been going to Brian Rowe and Vendravius Jacobs, but still a very deep and talented young receiver group that's starting to play better and better as the season goes on.
3rd and less than 1.
First charge timeout, South Carolina.
Gamecocks will talk about it. Step away for a timeout to pay some bills. 15-point Gamecock lead. 3rd and inches. What do you like here?
I like my big 6'4", 240-pound quarterback on a direct snap, a little power. Got Matt Fuller in the game as well. He's been running well the last couple plays as well. There it is.
Trying to win a race to the edge. He won that and reached for the pylon. Picked up the first down, but short of the goal line.
Well, it's nice when your 240-pound quarterback also probably runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
You can have him just try to race somebody to the sideline and got just enough. This is where South Carolina was a man down right now. Marquis Anderson, we saw him down earlier in the game as well.
They're already down 2 offensive linemen, Cason Henry and Nolan Hay. Both started against Missouri. Neither finished the game. Neither available tonight. Anderson has been a backup at the guard spot.
And that never helps, right? And you look at the game from last week and you're like, man, they just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Probably a reason why.
Yeah, you got a bunch of guys in new spots that are getting reps that they're not used to, next to guys that they're not used to. I mean, Cole knows better than anybody. The offensive line is a unit. If one guy's great, it doesn't matter if the guy next to him is making a mistake or not helping him with a double team or not communicating well enough. So cohesiveness is so important up front, and they just haven't had a ton of it.
Well, it compounds itself, as you mentioned, on the road last week, and we've seen that happen with Kentucky tonight. You know, guys jumping off the football a little bit early, procedure penalties.
Tough to see there what happened to Anderson.
6'4", 326, and putting very little weight on that right leg.
The ball now just inside the 1-yard line. South Carolina's going to go under center, maybe quarterback sneak.
Ran out of gun last time. Hesitation up the handoff, and no signal. There it is. Matt Fuller finds pay dirt for the first touchdown of the season. He's going to keep that one. First career touchdown for the redshirt freshman from Jessup, Georgia.
But a really nice drive put together by South Carolina, really on the back of Matt Fuller, a guy Beamer mentioned. He wanted to get more involved, more opportunities, ton of juice. Also 5'11", 220. He is thick, explosive. They've really been looking for somebody that can fall forward, break some tackles, pick up yards when it doesn't look perfect up front. He's been doing that this last drive.
South Carolina converted a couple of short yardage plays on this drive.
Yeah, the physicality again. The blocking didn't have to be perfect. Matt Fuller was able to fall forward, runs into a couple Kentucky defenders, carries them into the end zone. And it's the run game. Now 110 yards on the night for South Carolina after a -9 outing last week. That's been a bright spot, as have a lot of things tonight for South Carolina.
On South Carolina, number jersey change, number 45 is now 49.
You know what? That makes sense. Make the kicker change the jersey. You know, like he's just standing over there for the most part.
And it's dry.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's the hardest when it's all sweaty and it just can't get it off.
Got a Spartanburg. Max Joyce.
You say Spartanburg?
Well, it's from a movie back in, yeah, I think it was Shampoo. You should watch it on your
How many
phone.
people listening do you think got that?
Everybody in Spartanburg got it. Yeah, everybody. Charleston, maybe not. But upstate, yeah. Big lick on special teams have been special tonight. That's Mo Brown again. He's been involved. You got a Hall of Fame dad who made a living out of Beamer ball with Bud Foster helping out as a legendary defensive coordinator. They led FBS in non-offensive touchdowns. And, well, under Shane, since 21, he is carrying that torch. And that has been the recipe for success, not just this season, but specifically tonight. 4 takeaways, 21 points off of it, including a pair of defensive touchdowns. And a hit in the backfield. And South Carolina's Markel Goodwine. Alabama transfer comes up with a stop.
Goodwine was a guy that was banged up this week. They were not quite sure what his status was going to be. A game time decision at one point. One of those integral pieces in the middle of that defensive line, replacing DJ Sanders and Taka Hemingway, who are staples up front for this squad last year.
As the 9th tackle behind the line of scrimmage for the Gamecocks tonight. Odd-man rush. Boley hit. Ball came out. And Kentucky seemingly fell on it. Jatius Gear came in like a wrecking ball. Man.
Shiazpi just struggling on this left side. It's just going to be another speed rush. Good width, didn't get enough depth there on that drop.
Keep those shoulders square also with that depth.
6th sack of Boley tonight. On 3rd and 22, hoping McGowan can open the door. DQ Smith with the stop. And Kentucky will have to punt it away.
Yeah, disappointing night for Cutter Boley. Obviously, you dream about these moments, especially as a local kid. First SEC road start this matchup that's so much tradition and emotion into it. Probably envision things going a little differently, but great learning moment. Got a bright future.
See if Swain's got one in him. Ross unloaded a rocket last time. And it's another great one. Fair catch asked for, bobbled, recovered. He can't return it. And he's taken down at the 12. The beanbag goes up to the 15 where the fair catch was signaled. 61-yard punt for Aiden LaRosse. It's been a series of streaks, and now South Carolina with the edge, having won 3 in a row. The winner goes to bowl 68% of the time since 2000, and the loser, more often than not, fails to finish with a winning record. We talked to both coaches about that. They said, yeah, you know, we're fairly evenly matched when it comes to talent. And one game can really be a launching point or can take you the other direction. And I feel like the little rivalry that these two head coaches built up a few years ago gave Shane Beamer a big lift. He did the sunglasses thing, and then Stoops was quoted saying something about the sunglasses the next time out. And Shane is a guy, when he got into this league, he was coming home back to South Carolina, but I feel like he reveled getting under people's skin. And that kind of stuff drives a guy like Mark Stoops absolutely batty.
Oh, no doubt. Shane is a guy that coaches with a ton of emotion.
Sellers comes out of there again. A 20-yard gain when he should have been thrown for a loss.
I mean, ball security is optional. He's just look at the ball security. Look at him just running with this thing, holding it down by his waist, tucks it there, breaks a tackle. I mean,
you know, Shane's seen this firsthand. He was a teammate of Michael Vick.
Yeah,
played with him at Virginia Tech. Yeah.
Like,
and I wonder if maybe he sees it's not a fair comparison. They're two totally different quarterbacks, but the ability to keep a play alive and to stay on your feet. When Lenora Sellers is healthy, he's a difference maker.
I mean, it's got to be 4 or 5 or 6 times tonight he's broken a tackle in the pocket at some point.
6, 7.
Bounced off somebody. Like,
yeah, it's like a matador. You ever been to a bullfight?
I have not.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Not going to a bullfight. Where would you even do that?
I got a place.
Oh, you got a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy.
You got a guy. He's got a red cape.
That's right.
He waves it.
His name's Cole.
It's a cow with plastic horns, you know, but it's just in a backyard, a couple miles from here.
Yeah, it's in Irmo. I know a guy up there. It's actually not even a bull; it's a cat.
Back to the before we get way off track. It was interesting talking to Shane Beamer, Cole, because we were talking about the emotion of this matchup and how he's got to kind of remind himself to not let that take over the moment and take over the way he coaches.
Well, he's got that sheet in his hand. He said he writes himself a note before every game, and he puts the word poise on the note just to kind of keep a reminder. It's got like the officials' names on it and everything. Might have a shot of it that we can get you here in a few minutes, but that's the one thing that he wanted to remind himself of each and every game.
Sometimes, kind of like a baseball manager getting tossed for arguing balls and strikes, sometimes you let it go to get your team fired up. That was part of that bowl game against Illinois. I think both coaches, both Bielema and Beamer, kind of reacted to that at the other side. But it came up because they had all those penalties against Missouri. And there's a shot of Shane on the sideline. It wasn't an eye roll or a yell. It was more supportive. Clapping hands. Come on, guys. Just gather yourself, focus. We can get this. Even if it might have been turmoil on the inside.
Hey, everything is calculated when you're a head coach. Sometimes you got to know what can fire your guys up, what type of coach you need to be in what moment. He was like, look, I knew I wasn't going to fight Bielema, but I knew my guys needed to see a little fire. They needed some juice, and he felt like he needed to bring that.
All you got to do is get 44 on the field, and you're going to find it somewhere.
Very true.
I mean, just
Very
pancakes a guy 15 yards down the field on that play.
Timeout for an injured player on defense.
Tavion Gadsden is the injured Wildcat. When we return, Gamecocks will be looking at a 2nd and 6. Getting their swagger back, fluffing their feathers a little bit. Ryan McGee's in the house tonight.
McGee is here. We both came from Athens.
But you didn't ride together.
Well, no, I had to do a halftime show, so he left right after.
He wouldn't
I was
wait
a couple hours
for you?
behind.
You couldn't ride in the pick-em-up truck?
I wouldn't wait for me either.
I'll tell you this, McGee's done a lot of nerdy things in his life, but he was taking pictures of the officials on the side, holding the chain game during the game, and I said, that might be #1 on nerd things you've done.
Second to collecting minor league baseball hats. Dressing up as Teddy Tourist in Asheville for a summer. Gain of a couple, that will leave 3rd and about 4th.
Boy, 150 rushing yards tonight for South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, obviously, with the scrambles that he had, leads that group with 76 yards. But it's really been a few of the chunk plays. 10, 12-yard runs that they just haven't had enough of through the first half of this season. Looking a lot better with that unit up front.
Here's Sellers to the edge and a 1st down, and with 5 minutes to go, down multiple scores, you got to look ahead for Kentucky because they're really going to be forced in a position where they have to regroup and try to get right. Easier said than done. Georgia's had their number forever. They get a couple of night games, but you bring Orange to town, first Texas, then Tennessee.
That's a brutal run for a young quarterback and an offense that's still trying to figure out who their playmakers are on the outside. Got 2 really good running backs, an offensive line that's getting better, coming together.
And what a start for this offense, right? I mean, Shane said it. They were just running right down our throat.
Stoops told me at halftime, he said first drive was exactly what we wanted when we came into this game. Couldn't have asked for anything better.
Cole, why is it so hard to replicate and repeat?
Well, #1, defensive adjustments. And I think we saw it a couple of times in this game where Clayton White said he can throw if he wants to. I'm bringing the guys down in the box.
Yeah.
And they had 5-man fronts. They had 8, 9 in the box at different times. You're not going to find any space that way. You've got to throw teams out of that.
Power run game for Matt Fuller.
Also, sometimes, too, you just need to block.
That helps.
That helps a little bit.
Yeah. Usually a good idea.
What do you think?
Kentucky takes its first timeout of the half. That's a 30-second timeout.
I'll ask you in a second. First, let's get it to our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Time for our use it or lose it specialty graphic, and this applies the Kentucky quarterback carousel. Said in the pregame, it's more like it. Tilt-a-whirl. I mean, Steven Johnson was fantastic. Came in, he had some big wins, including knocking off Louisville. Terry Wilson showed up. They were really on a nice run. And Will Levis formed in a first-round pick. Then Leary didn't work. Vandegrift, early exit from a health perspective. Zach Calzada played at 2 different SEC schools, but couldn't find his footing. It's one thing, we're talking to coaches this season, and Brian Kelly told us last week, if you miss one guy in the portal, somebody you've invested in, it really feels like you missed on 2. Now, if you miss with a quarterback, man, that feels like it costs you 5.
And I think what coaches, maybe a trap that some coaches fall into, at maybe the schools that are middle to lower pack of some of these big conferences is, oh, this guy played at Alabama. He played at Georgia. He played at A&M. He's played in big programs. There's also a reason you're in the portal. Doesn't mean that you're going to automatically plug in and be a big player. And look, we see Ole Miss went and grabbed a guy from Ferris State at a D2.
Yeah.
Now we're looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. So oftentimes you get fooled by recruiting stars and you just don't take the time to evaluate, does this fit us? Not is he a good player, He's probably a decent player, but does it fit who we need at that position?
Even the guys at the NFL level get fooled by the quarterback position, and they have all the time in the world and humongous
and
stats.
Resources.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't mean to say it's how do you?
But
miss
it's an
on a guy?
imperfect science.
No doubt.
When you miss and they're grabbing a big part of your budget, that's a gamble every year.
And it's exasperated by the short window of time you have to make that decision.
Luke Doty in a quarterback now.
We were talking to Bush Hamden and Mark Stoops about that. You have a couple days and you're looking at 4 or 5 guys, but you're not sure, well, is this guy actually going to come to us? Is he going to go somewhere else? And he leaves, goes somewhere else, and you go, well, we have these 2 guys. I mean, you have to pull the trigger very quickly, and oftentimes it is a little bit of a toss-up, this guy or that guy. You just take who you can get at times because you need somebody.
You know, it's specific to Kentucky. They actually were able to make some of those decisions before the season came to an end.
Yes, yeah.
The last few years. And lucky to have Boley, but he hasn't been able to get it going tonight. We got the 2-minute timeout, and South Carolina in control. You won't believe what we're going to do next. There's been a host of teams that got off to slow starts with high expectations and didn't get them back. South Carolina rose to number 10 in the polls before they started slipping. Lost to Vandy, lost to Missouri. Offense non-existent, and this is what they have left. Tonight's game change your perspective a little bit?
Absolutely. All right, they came into this game last in the SEC in total offense at 300 yards per game, 123rd in the country. And already tonight, 334 yards. And haven't ran a ton of plays, right? The defense took over. They've had short fields. They haven't had to put together too many long drives. But you see Luke Doty in the game now, the backup quarterback. You look at that schedule. LSU lost to Ole Miss today. They've had some struggles on offense. Oklahoma, who knows John Mateer and his forecast for when he'll be healthy. It's great defense.
It's right at that South Carolina game. This is when he's projected. That would be a little bit on the early end if you're taking the over-under. It's probably a toss-up as to whether or not he's back better.
Yeah, so maybe a little chance for South Carolina to get some momentum following this performance tonight. Again, we talked about how this is a swing game. This is an inflection point for the team that comes out on top in this matchup.
By the way, remember what they did to Oklahoma last year. Absolutely ransacked them with takeaways in the second quarter. Back-to-back pick sixes. Shane was back in Norman, where he was an assistant to Lincoln Riley and motivated to get there and get a win. Cole, they're going jumbo here.
Looks like this might be 14 personnel here.
One running back, 4 tight ends.
At least Shane came over yelling at me about it, that I better have it in my takeaways tomorrow.
There's a lot of beef. Use your counter. And just short. And he'll turn it over on downs. You have failed to use your counter.
Well, I panicked. You know, I was going to be late. Didn't know if they were going to snap it. I think it was actually 3 tight ends and 1 extra lineman.
He just gave me a maybe not, by the way.
Well, at least he's loose. All right,
let's see what we got here. We got 1 tight end there. We got 1 in the backfield. We got 2 over here in a lineman. Yeah, we have 4. We have 4 big boys in there.
Did you hit your bingo card? Did you get everything used tonight that you were supposed to?
No, you know, I was supposed to do a 12-man count with the numbers. Had a little bet going with Chris Capo in the booth here. He told me I couldn't get the vision cone in. Got it in like first drive.
That was really impressive.
You know? Just wasn't able to count 12 men on the field. Needed that one.
Maybe you guys can stay late in practice. Cutter Boley hands it off. You know, Cutter's dad played college basketball at Western Kentucky, where he was a college roommate of former South Carolina head coach Darren Horn. Promised Darren I'd get that nugget in before the end of the game, and I beat it by 6 seconds. All South Carolina, 21-point second quarter. And the swing game goes the Gamecocks' way. And we'll see if they can use that to catapult to another season, postseason. Let's go down to Cole.
Coach, you don't have the veteran presence that you had a year ago, but to be able to bounce back from what happened a week ago, you just told us a few minutes ago, trailing going into the 4th quarter. A lot of guys going to keep their heads down. Your team showed up tonight.
Yeah, so freaking proud of them, especially the team we just beat. So much respect for Mark and his team, and that's a physical football team. And for us to be coming into this game after the disappointment of the last 2 weeks, down 2 offensive linemen that started against Missouri, and for us to respond like we did. We responded this week, and then we responded tonight anytime adversity hit. They score on the opening drive, we respond. We don't get the fake punt, defense holds them to a field goal. They cut it to a 2-score game, offense responds. I mean, so freaking proud of these guys. We're really, really young, I told y'all that, but we just continue to get better.
There's something to be said, though, as Halloween approaches about the creatures inside this stadium. It's like they arrive, and the net gets more out of your pass rushers, and then you get the special teams plays. Like, how do you conjure that stuff up on such a consistent basis?
Yeah, it starts with our amazing fan base. I mean, there wasn't a seat available in this place tonight. Says everything about them. And then our team. You know, I don't get into the whole Beamer ball stuff. Like sometimes, what's up, girl? I don't get into the whole Beamer ball stuff. I mean, that's my dad. But one of their coaches, but to me, Beamer ball is when you can score on defense, you can make plays on special teams. And one of their coaches this week got asked about Beamer ball, and he said, I'm not familiar with that at South Carolina. That's a Virginia Tech Frank Beamer thing. So we'll see. Proud of the way our guys responded tonight.
Well, I was trying to buy some time so my nephew could get here and see me, but, oh, he did make it. Yeah, I was saying maybe that's why safety's not going well, because the speed didn't get you down here in time. But there it is. Congrats, Coach.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Shane Beamer is a master at finding an edge. In that random quote, which I never heard or never read about, somehow got back to him. And if that wasn't motivation for the entire program, it was at least motivation for the head coach. We'll still call it Beamer ball. It turned this game in the second quarter, and it turned into a South Carolina blowout. Dari?